I feel I will guess it right when I say that you, at least once, felt guilty at your work by taking some time off. Well, it was definitely a case for me. Today I would like to share my story about feeling guilty at my work, how I handled it, and how it changed my attitude toward job. Hi, I'm Terry. I've just recently quit my job and now I'm sharing my experience and figuring out is there any life after big tech. So, guilt. Let's start with a little story about one of my ex-coworkers. They are super responsible, reliable, and hard-working person. They dealt with everything that got into their plate very professionally. They just did a great job. Every time they got a new project or task, they were super stressed because they were scared to mess it up. So they put a lot of work into it and a lot of their personal time, even during weekends. And the results were always great. They also didn't take any vacation during the first year and a half being with company, and they barely took some time off. They were often working during long weekends as well. You need to know here that at my ex-company, employees are given some number of vacation days, and this number depends on your role and level. And if you didn't take some part of these vacation days this year, you can transfer them to the next year. But it's only some specific part of your vacation. You can't leave it all for the next year, and the amount that is not transferable will just burn. So this my ex-coworker decided to take some vacation days before they disappear next year. And one of the problems with big tech, there is never a good time to take a vacation. You always have project after project and task after task, and it seems like it's a circle. This ex-coworker has just finished a big and impactful project, and of course, they were given another big and impactful project to work on. And when I had a conversation with them, they shared that they feel guilty about taking this vacation, and I asked why. And they said, well, I just started to work on my new project, and I don't want to leave my team alone, etc. etc. And on one hand, I understand their concerns, but on the other, it sounded just awful. You put so much of your time and your energy into the work, and you haven't taken any vacations yet. You're going to visit your family. Why do you feel guilty about it? So, I did a little research and found some facts about guilt. For example, guilt is a moral emotion that occurs when a person believes or realizes, accurately or not, that they have compromised their own standards of conduct. Productivity guilt often comes from beliefs that our worth must be earned through achievement. And the most interesting part, guilt over doing nothing stems from deeply held beliefs that we must earn our worth through output. This is called conditional self-worth, where you only feel valuable if, and here you can put whatever your situation is. For example, you may only feel valuable if you secure the promotion after taking on assignments beyond your job description or are given the reins on a major work project. Well, it feels like the feeling of guilt is something that we are creating by ourselves for ourselves. The less we care about ourselves, the more we work our times, the more expectations we create, and the more often we feel guilty about things when they are not going well. And they will not go well because we overuse our limits. Here is another story from my experience. At my ex-company, we were not paid for on-call shifts and overtime work. Even more, at some point it became very clear that our managers do not appreciate our overtime work in any way. They just expect us to do so. And honestly, right now I feel so stupid for being kind of shocked when I realized that.
What?
There were also no official workday limits. For example, like 9 to 5 working day. It just should be 40 hours a week. It might seem flexible and nice, but it's actually a trap to make us work more. And we still had unofficial 9 to 5 working days because, well, meetings, and you need to work with other people and with other teams as well. So naturally, core hours were 9 to 5. To be fair, I have to mention that we were able to take some time off during the day for doctor appointments or family responsibilities or things like that. Every time I was taking such time off, I felt guilty and I was trying to return that time back and to work extra hours to cover for that time off. Even if I was working extra hours just yesterday.
Huh?
At that time, I was going through transformations from self-sacrificing employee mode to self-defense mode, where I finally started pushing back and trying to optimize team processes to make our overtime hours less. And during that time, I also realized that it doesn't seem right to feel guilty about work. So I created a simple tracking document where I was feeling all the extra hours I worked and also hours I took as a time off. You can find a link for a free tracker template in the description below. And of course, after all the calculations, I expected that it will be a lot of extra hours, but I definitely didn't expect that that number will be so huge. It was much more than I expected. For example, for the 3 summer months of 2025, I accumulated 52 overtime hours. And I can't even imagine how awful were those numbers before all these transformations to self-defense mode. This tracker helped me with my feeling of guilt when I was scheduling another appointment with my doctor, which by the way I needed only because I was exhausted by my job and I had related health issues. So I stopped feeling guilty about it once and for all. It's my time and I want it back. And I also started to take more time off for my needs. I actually was trying to make the amount of time off hours and the number of overtime hours equal, but it looked impossible. The number of overtime hours was always more than number of time off hours. And the difference was usually at least 10 hours. Why do I feel guilty when I take 2 hours of work to see a doctor to figure out health issues that actually were caused by my work? And why I don't feel guilty when I work overtime, putting my work before my health, time and my family? Yeah, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. Well, guilt might be helpful for keeping our moral compass on track and for being good people, but it is also dangerous because it can lead to burnout and emotional distress. And from my experience, I often see how good people overuse this feeling and end up putting their work before their health, time and families. And bad people are very happy to use it and profit from it. That is why we have overtime, extra work and all other bullshit. So, be good people, but also know when it's time to stand up for yourself. Subscribe for more messed up stories from BigTech and share your experience in comments below. See you next time!